Achieving better handling and off-road performance is something that everyone's after. In this video, we're gonna outfit this brand new 4Runner with some awesome suspension from Toytec and some bigger tires. Check it out. So with this project, the owner of the vehicle really wanted to retain the factory wheel, and I don't blame him. It's a pretty cool looking wheel. So what we are doing to achieve that is we're gonna be installing these wheel spacers from Spider Tracks. Now these are a really nice, all billet, made in USA wheel spacer. As you can see, they're hub centric, which is sweet. And they get installed pretty simply by bolting them onto the hub. They come with the bolts and the Loctite to make that happen. And it's very simple to see what they do. They just space the wheel out a little bit so that we've got a little bit more room for turning. What we're doing for tires is kind of a unique size as well. These are a 255/80/17. So this tire is actually a hair, 10 millimeters, skinnier than the factory tire, but significantly taller. Sometimes when people talk about metric tire size, it can be kind of confusing. What does the 255 mean and what does the 80 mean? Well, it's kind of easy when you think about it. This section here is how we measure the 255. So this is 255, here's the sticker, 255 millimeters across. So what does the 80 mean? Well, that's telling us that the sidewall is 80% of 255 millimeters. So we're gonna be installing these next. After we got the valve stems pulled out of these, we're going to, of course, keep the tire pressure sensors in them and get it mounted up. It's gonna turn out sweet, and it's gonna be a really nice option, especially when you want to keep a factory wheel on your relatively new 4Runner. So we've got most of the front suspension apart, and we're going back together with it right now. Of course, we got the driver's side together. We're gonna install this sway bar end link once we get the vehicle back on the ground. But I wanted to show you a little bit about what's getting done as far as the control arm and the coil over here. This is Toytec's 2.5-inch diameter, roughly 2.5 inches of lift. And these shocks are really neat because they've got some sort of corrosion inhibiting like coating on them. So it's not just like a raw aluminum there. We see a lot of times the shocks, like whether it's Bilstein or Fox or anybody, just corrode and get really ugly after a couple years. And so we were excited to see these Aluma Series from Toytec because they're supposed to be better at preventing corrosion on the body of the shock. We also installed this SPC upper control arm. So here's another version, here's the opposite side, of course, that we're gonna install yet. But I wanted to show it to you because this thing's pretty slick. Based on the orientation of the installation of the upper ball joint, it makes aligning these things much easier because we can change caster and camber in that upper ball joint to what the factory specs are for this. Generally, when we install these lifts and we don't do the upper control arm, caster's really low. Not that it's a huge deal, but we like them to be perfect. So installing the SPC upper control arm really helps there as well. Of course, here's the wheel spacer. We've got that installed and torqued with red Loctite. We also like to put a little bit of these indicator marks on them so that it's really easy during servicing to see if something has come loose. A few other things that get installed in the front of this kit is a sway bar relocation bracket, as well as a differential drop to make sure the axle shafts are on the right angle. In the back, we haven't gotten there yet, but it's gonna be new coil springs, and then Aluma 2.5-inch diameter shocks for the back as well. And man, these things are pretty. They're a good looking shock. So we're getting that all together now. Of course, once we get the front and the back all done, we gotta ship it up for alignment, and then the whole project's wrapped up. So this is an awesome, awesome way to do a 4Runner, especially if you wanna keep your factory wheels and provide a suspension that is even better than a TRD Pro. So we've got the 4Runner all wrapped up, and I think it turned out awesome. Keep in mind, this is a perfect solution for your 4Runner if you want to retain the factory wheel and kind of the factory look, but a beefed up stance for your rig. Let us know what you think about this video in our comment section. Remember to follow and subscribe on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube for all of our greatest content. Be sure for inspiration to check out the Mount Zion Off-Road website for events and some of the Jeeps, trucks, and rigs that we've done in the past in our showcase section. Thanks for following along. See you next time.